Day 2 of the NFL Draft has concluded, and the Miami Dolphins made one selection. We'll tell you why here in just 1 second. That was offensive lineman Jonah Savaiinaea from Arizona, an offensive tackle guard hybrid that does project it to be a Day 1 starter for the Miami Dolphins. It's a fascinating pick and one at a position of need. You might be asking, shouldn't we have been talking about 2 players with this video? Yeah, we should have, other than the fact that Dolphins actually traded up to take Savaiinaea from Arizona. They traded their 2nd-round pick, their 3rd-round pick, and their 4th-round pick in exchange to move up 11 spots to draft Savaiinaea at 37, and then they also got 143, a 5th-round pick, in return. So when you really look at it, they traded their 3rd-round pick, number 98, to move up 11 spots in the 2nd round and just to move back 8 spots in between round 4 and round 5. It's an interesting deal. We'll give my grade on both the trade and the actual pick of Jonah from Zona here in just 1 second. But get your red pens out. Let me know what you think the grade is for Jonah Savaiinaea, the newest Miami Dolphins, someone that is likely going to get a lot of playing time on this offensive line early in his career. Get down in the comment section and let me know. So like I said, we're going to grade this as a pick and a trade. When you just talk about the pick and the player that is Jonah Savaiinaea, I give it a B-plus pick. I mean, when we talk about going into the draft, players that I would have wanted Miami to take in the 2nd round, we often talked about DB at 13, whether it was Will Johnson or Jahdae Barron. We talked about trenches on defensive line and offensive line in round 2. And going into the day, I made a list of picks I'd be happy about. I said at pick 48, I would be dancing through the street if we took Nicky Manwari, Will Johnson, or Trey Amos. I would be happy with Savone Revel, Benjamin Morrison, Jonah Savaiinaea, and then also we had another offensive lineman, Tate Ratledge. So they ultimately took one of the guys I was going to be happy about. So I'm ecstatic that they took him. I give it a B-plus grade because he's going to be a Day 1 starter and likely going to be someone who finally gets rid of Liam Eichenberg as a contributing piece to this Dolphins roster. But we also do have to grade the trade because the Dolphins spent a 3rd-round pick to move up to ensure his ability to get drafted. I give it a B-minus. I do. Like, when you look at the trade value chart, it's an even deal. If you look at the Rich Hill chart, the Dolphins actually acquired 176 value points and traded away 175, so it's a dead even trade. And then on a different trade value chart, the Dolphins gave away, I think it was about 168, and then they received about 164. So either way, it's so close in trade value that it's hard to complain. The only reason why you could actually complain is because the Dolphins just had so many needs at corner, safety, O-line, D-line, to where you would have probably liked to have that pick in the 3rd round to take a defensive back because there are some safeties still on the board that I really like. We'll show and talk about them in just a second. But we'll focus on Savaiinaea here because he is going to be a Day 1 starter. And he graded out pretty well for Arizona last season. He played offensive tackle for the most part, but everybody believes he is going to be a guard at the next level. And it's actually hard to kind of talk about where he is going to fit on this offensive line depth chart because when you look at what he has done in his career, he played offensive tackle in his 1st year. Then he played 15 games at right guard, and then he played last year back at tackle for 12-plus games. So you don't know exactly where he's going to fit in. It's not like he's a strict left guard, and it's not like James Daniel is either. So when I'm looking at the offensive line, if I was Mike McDaniel, I'm starting Savaiinaea, I would probably start him at right guard. I would move James Daniels to left guard. So you have a first-year full-time starter at left tackle in Paul, next to a veteran in James Daniels, and then you have your 2nd-round rookie, first-year NFL starter at right guard in Jonah Savaiinaea, in between 2 veterans in Austin Jackson and Aaron Brewer. So if I was starting the O-line, I'm moving Daniels to left guard, putting Jonah at right guard, and you now have your starting 5 up front set, barring any injuries. Continue to talk about Savaiinaea here as a prospect. Look at what Miami did with Kenneth Grant and who's still on the board for the Fins entering Day 3. But make sure you are subscribed because we've been live for the first 2 days in full. We'll be live in full on Day 3, recapping every pick. deep analysis, interaction with the live chat. Hit that sub button. Join us for the best coverage of the YouTube Dolphins game there is. All right, let's move over to Dane Brugler and what he said on Jonah Savaiinaea. He said he has the length and functional movements to stay at tackle, but his square play style projects best at inside at guard, where he can use his bear claws to control the man in front of him. He should compete for starting reps as early in his rookie season. Our own Tom Downey had him as a fringe second round, third round guy. That's what he graded him as. I truly believe that. I know there was a lot of mock drafts that had him maybe sliding to round 3. There was a lot of mock drafts that had him to Miami at 48. In an alternate universe, it would be nice to just know if the Dolphins didn't trade up to get him and let the board fall if they could have taken him at 48, because it would be intriguing to still have that third-round pick. But I said this at the Chat Sports office, and the truth is this. It really is how I feel. If Chris Grier and Mike McDaniel wanted to address offensive line at that second starting spot on the guard a lot in a big way, and they circle Jonah Savaiinaea as their top guy, who am I to complain about them spending that capital to make sure they got their guy to start and complete that offensive line? So I'm not really going to complain about the trade any further. We're going to talk about more here with the Dolphins and look ahead at some day 3 targets, but we are sponsored by House of Atlas, the razor company that is just so awesome, and I've really got in control with them. They gifted us one of the razors, and honestly, I'm blown away. Not only does it look insanely sleek sitting in my bathroom, but it gives me an incredibly close shave. It feels weird to gush over a lineup of shaving products, but truly House of Atlas makes some one-of-a-kind stuff. Not to mention their products are all designed to look like they should have their own tech reveal. The blade head has 5 U.S.-made stainless steel blades that glide right through my facial hair. It has high-performance serum strip that's infused with ingredients like aloe, vitamin E, and shea butter, which reduces irritation and helps prevent ingrown hair. And I have that razor in studio with me. Listen, you see the facial hair that I have. It's perfect for me. It keeps me trimmed up, looking fresh for the ladies, looking good on streams, and it looks cool. It does its job, and that's all you can ask for a razor, folks. And they have a great deal for all of you. For a limited time, they're offering 15% off your first order when you purchase any razor kit and the before and after set, which includes the Precision Shave Cream and Calming After Shave. Use code CHAT at houseofatlas.com. That's HOUSEOFATLAS.com with promo code CHAT for 15% off your new razor kit and before and after set. Stop wasting money and time on shaving products that don't look good, aren't effective, and cost way too much. Visit houseofatlas.com today. Trust me, you'll love it as much as I did. Let's get back to what the Miami Dolphins have done in the NFL draft to this point. Because they made no selection in the third round, they did not trade back up into the draft. They sit with 1 4th-round pick, 116, 3 5th-round picks, 143, 150, 155. Then they have 3 7th-round picks as well. So tomorrow, we have 7 picks. Some teams don't even have 7 picks in the entire draft. Miami has 7 on day 3, which none of them in the 6th round. But they've taken Kenneth Grant, the D lineman from Michigan, and then obviously the player that we talked about mostly on this show, Jonah Savaiinaea. Now, quickly on Grant before we look at some day 3 targets. I'm a fan. And a lot of people are complaining, and I understand the complaints because we still have need at corner. We still have need at safety. I understand the complaints because who's starting at corner for the Dolphins, especially if they trade Jalen Ramsey? Who effing knows? But the truth is this. This past season, the Dolphins weren't good. We complained relentlessly about the trenches offensively and defensively. So you, to me, cannot complain about the Dolphins getting their guy on the defensive line, their guy on the offensive line to bulk up and beef up the trenches. Because it's something we've complained about nonstop. So don't give me that about being upset about these 2 picks. A- for Grant. I gave that grade last night. B+ for Savaiinaea. 2 good players on the trenches for the Fins. All right, let's transition over to the top players available here at Chat Sports, according to us, at some positions of need. Safety is going to be one that we're going to talk about. Billy Bowman Jr. is my top guy. Someone who has been mock drafted us here at Miami in the 4th round a lot. I've talked about Bowman a lot as a sideline-to-sideline, rangy, athletic safety. If he's on the board at 116, I know the needs at corner. I would be very happy with Billy Bowman Jr. being the pick for the Fins. Ransom is an interesting player. Jalen Reed's also cool. I like Malachi Moore from Alabama. And the safety from Clemson, R.J. Mickens. He isn't on Tom Downey's top 8 big board, but I like him. I would be intrigued with drafting Mickens, the safety from Clemson. But the guys that I'm looking at the most, Billy Bowman, Malachi Moore, and Jalen Reed from Penn State. Corner, obviously the biggest need. I think the top 3 actually make a ton of sense here. I do. Dorian Strong's my top guy, though. He is. I like Dorian Strong the most. 6'2", good outside man-to-man coverage dude who I think has the athleticism to play in any type of scheme. Dorian Strong's my top guy. But I know the Dolphins will be interested in Quincy Riley. They met with him, I believe, multiple times throughout this pre-draft process. And Kobe Bryant, not only the name is cool, but he is a legit corner at the next level. Do I think he's going to be an unbelievable Pro Bowl starter right away? No, but if the Dolphins picked any of these 3 with the 116th pick, I would be pretty interested. The next range of corners aren't as enticing. Really, none of these guys from this list move me. There was a lot of corners off the board in the late 3rd round that surprised me that they went ahead of Kobe Bryant, went ahead of Dorian Strong. So to me, the Fins are set up potentially to get one of those 3 that I mentioned, Riley, Strong, and what was the other one, Justin? Can we get back to the cornerback? I forgot who the 3rd guy was. Kobe Bryant, Strong, and Riley. Never mind. We're good. We figured it out. I remembered. It's been a long day here, folks, as we're getting this out to you. But the defensive tackle. We took Kenneth Grant, but we still need a defensive lineman. We do. Because we only have Zach Sealer, Kenneth Grant, and Benito Jones. And the good news is, folks, there's a ton of good defensive linemen available. When we have 3 5-round picks, I expect one of those 3 to be used on a D tackle. If Deion Walker's there, ecstatic. Joshua Farmer's there, ecstatic. CJ West, love him to death. I would take him at 116. Boom. Jordan Phillips is an even intriguing player. You get to the second level here. I've talked about Anus Peebles for the Dolphins at 116 a ton. Ty Robinson has been linked to the Fins a lot as well. You talk about the top 6 defensive linemen still on the board, I'll be happy. And then maybe that's a reason why you hold off a little bit and go with a DB at 116 in the 4th round, because one of those guys may fall to you with one of your 3 5th-round picks. But there's a lot of good defensive linemen available that you could add to this roster and really fill out that room, which would make me excited. But we got to talk about quarterback, because there's a name still there that I'm stunned. I really am. You see him. I know you're shocked. You're probably asking me why he's still there. Guy, I don't have the answer for you. Dylan Gabriel went ahead of Shedeur Sanders. I just don't get it. Like, what's the reasoning here? Because if you watch the play on the field, it's not because of that. It's not. And we talked about Dylan Gabriel as a backup quarterback option in Miami, the left-handed, the size, the accuracy, the similarities between him and Tua are there. I know we have need at corner. I know we have need at safety. I know we have need at defensive line. I would take Shedeur Sanders at 116. I said it. I said I wouldn't take him earlier in videos at 13 overall. Yeah, it's number 13 overall. You need other needs. But when you talk about 4th round, like, this would be one of the best value picks I've ever seen. I would take him at 116. I don't know if a team will trade up and grab him before Miami. But I'm telling you right now, if Shedeur Sanders is on the board, I'm taking him in the 4th round. The value is too good to pass up there. It just would be a good pick. But if you're talking about quarterbacks in general, if you wanted to wait till the 5th round with one of your 3 guys, Will Howard, Kyle McCord, Quinn Ewers, 3 QBs that have been linked to Miami a lot in this pre-draft process. I'd also tell you to hold off maybe going Curtis Rourke out of Indiana. That could be one of your 7th-round picks. But you let me know. We went through the 4 most interesting positions for the Fins. QB, safety, D-line, corner. Let me know what player Miami should draft next, any position. 1 pick in round 4, 3 in round 5, 3 in round 7. Who should Miami draft? Get down in the comment section and let me know. So closing out this video, I know it was a long one. Appreciate everyone sticking with me here late on a Friday night. Remember, we gave Jonah Savaiinaea a B+ grade. He will be a day 1 starter for the Fins on that offensive line. B+ grade. I gave the trade a B-, but overall, I do like the pick of Jonah Savaiinaea. And when you pair that up with Kenneth Grant, which is an A- grade for me, I really like what Miami has done so far. There's 7 picks left. Miami might make 7. They might make more. I don't know, but we'll find out tomorrow, which is why you subscribe to the channel, because we're going to be live for all 4 rounds, We'll be live for the entire day 3, breaking down the picks, reacting to everything, and making videos about what Miami ultimately does. So hit that sub button, and I'll see you tomorrow for an early but very fun day.